Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing details. Today, we're discussing a lush and lovely Rolex Oyster Perpetual Cosmograph Daytona in white gold. This is the 116519, part of a quartet of colorful white gold strap-clad cosmographs from the turn of the century that were dubbed the Daytona Beach series. The timepiece right here, 40 millimeters in diameter in white gold, 12.2 millimeters thick, from lug tip to lug tip, 47.5 millimeters with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Indeed, there were 4 of them: blue, yellow, green, and pink. Watches that were perhaps more inclined to celebrate the fun-loving surf of Daytona Beach than the uncompromising speed of Daytona International Speedway. Nevertheless, this is the same family of watch, Rolex Daytona, that has long been the company's motorsports chronograph and the winner's gift to each winning driver at the Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona in each class-winning car. So the watch on my 16-centimeter circumference wrist wears beautifully. It's short enough across the wrist that I could recommend it for a smaller wrist than mine, down to 13.5 centimeters circumference. You can see from over the top, I've got plenty of lug clearance on each side, and the cuff shot proves that though this is a sports watch, it could be worn underneath a dress cuff. The Daytona Beach series included a factory lizard skin, that is lizard leather strap from Rolex, this one in brilliant gloss turquoise. These Daytonas that come from the factory on straps include a little conforming end link insert that ducks underneath the bezel and helps to close the gap between the spring bar and the case, so you can't simply put the strap on a bracelet-clad Daytona and make this watch. You do need that little end link piece. The strap is shear cut on its profile. It has a monotone stitch, and you can see it is lizard, a rare use of lizard on a Rolex factory strap, and this is a brand new Rolex factory strap with a matching Rolex deployant clasp. White gold, it has a clamshell lock, a combination of polish and satin, and then 5 divots drawn inside that can be used to re-anchor the strap in the clasp body, so you can move the strap in or out, changing its anchoring point to adjust the fit, because after all, you're not going to cut a leather strap. Now, fun fact here, we'll start with the interior of the clasp, but if you look very carefully, right next to Rolex SA and 18 karat 750, you can see a smaller oval, and you might barely make out the logo of Société Rolex, the French Rolex arm, and this would have been a French market watch because of that stamp. You'll also find it on the reverse of the watch, Société Rolex, a little bit easier to read in this case, and that's how you know that the case back is substantially intact, because those engravings were not super deep. They were stamped on, and they remain on this example. This would have been a French market Rolex Daytona Beach. Fun fact about the original Daytona Beach series, it was thought at the time that the bright colors would be more appealing to female clients. All the same, most of them went to men, but in their earliest iterations, many shipped to dealers on smaller straps in anticipation of a feminine clientele. The watch uses what's called gray gold, so it's white gold, 18 karat, white all the way through, and it has this slightly warmer color than you'll find on cheaper rhodium-plated white gold. Rolex has its own foundry, it makes its own alloys, it has long used true gray gold that never needs to be rhodium-plated, and if you scratch it, it's the same color underneath. That's the advantage of gray gold. You'll also find it used by high-end brands such as Patek Philippe, Grubel, Forsey, Jaeger-LeCoultre. It's the stuff you want. Now, a motorsports chronograph this is, with a tachymeter scale, which can, in conjunction with the chronograph, be used to gauge the speed of a car over a kilometer. And that is useful if you are a racer at Daytona International Speedway, but this dial, with glossy turquoise coloration, is far from the serious, no-holds-barred speed ethic of the racetrack. This is one for enjoying on or by the surf. The dial is glossy, gleaming with all applique white gold indices and Roman numerals, including a watchmaker's 4. We have white gold hands, white gold crown. All of this is white gold, so the dial will not tarnish or oxidize over time. Note the use of polished chapterings for each of the sub-registers. The watch does have luminescent hands, though not luminescent indices. And on the reverse side, under that lovely little Societe Rolex stamp. We have Rolex's caliber 4130 in one of its early iterations. Now this watch is a K series, so roughly 2001, and in 2000, Rolex launched its first ever in-house automatic chrono, which was the replacement for the older 4030 based on the Zenith El Primero. And 4130 was a big upgrade right out of the gate. Power reserve went from 50 hours to 72 hours. This was the first Rolex movement to use a winding rotor ball bearing rather than a jeweled staff, which made it more shock tolerant. It has 44 joules, a 4 hertz beat rate, stop seconds or hacking when you want it, and it includes a full balance bridge and a free-sprung balance for shock tolerance. It has an overcoil hairspring made of niobium zirconium alloy for, respectively, resistance to gravitationally induced timing deviation, that's why you have the overcoil, and resistance to timing deviation caused by magnetism, that's why you have the parachrom niobium zirconium alloy. The watch has a chronograph mechanism that depends on a column wheel function cycler, so a nice crisp feel. You can hear and feel the quality of the column wheel as you cycle the functions, start, stop, reset, and then it has a vertical clutch, which means you can leave the chronograph running with no additional wear and tear to the mechanism. You can also start the chronograph without any jump or stagger to the seconds hand because there's no play in a vertical clutch. And of course, adjusted in 5 positions, this movement is a COSC certified Swiss chronometer with screw-down crowns and an oyster case back. This watch is 100 meters water resistant. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.